It was supposed to be just another statement of dominance. McLaren crossed the finish line in Miami with a commanding 1-2 finish. Piastri and Norris untouched, unchallenged, and, seemingly, unbeatable. But in the shadows of their champagne celebration, the FIA was already preparing a silent strike. A full-scale technical investigation had been ordered, one prompted not by chance, but by persistent accusations from their fiercest rival, Red Bull Racing. For weeks, whispers grew louder. Flexible wings, mysterious brake designs, even bizarre accusations involving water in tires. McLaren's meteoric rise had the paddock buzzing with suspicion. And now, after intensive scrutiny, the FIA has issued its verdict. But is this truly the end of the controversy, or merely the calm before a political storm unlike any we've seen this season? Make sure to subscribe, because what you're about to hear is not just about brake ducts or clever engineering. It's about power, perception, and the fragile balance that holds F1's credibility together. Let's discuss, and stay tuned until the end. The 2025 Formula One season is only 6 races old, but it's already delivering more intrigue than some entire championship years. At the heart of the chaos sits McLaren, a team reborn, resurgent, and ruthlessly efficient. From the outside, their domination seems surgical. But behind the scenes, Red Bull has been stirring the pot, claiming McLaren's pace isn't just from hard work and smart development, but something far murkier. Let's start with what we know. Since the first lights went out in Bahrain, McLaren has been on a warpath. 5 victories from 6 races. A 1-2 in Miami that felt more like a mic drop than a race result. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri are no longer the underdog pairing. They are the alpha force. They lead the Drivers' Championship. McLaren leads the Constructors with 246 points. Everything, at least on paper, appears to be clicking. But performance at this level always raises eyebrows. And for Red Bull, whose aura of invincibility is crumbling race by race, McLaren's rise seems too meteoric to be natural. According to multiple reports, Red Bull has been quietly raising red flags with the FIA about the legality of McLaren's car. At the center of this storm is a controversial brake design. The exact technical details remain shrouded in secrecy, but insiders claim it involves intricate airflow manipulation, possibly enhancing both cooling and aerodynamic balance in ways that exploit gray areas in the regulations. The design reportedly alters how air moves around the front tires, reducing drag and possibly even enhancing downforce generation, without breaching Article 11 of the technical regulations. To the naked eye, it's just a brake duct. To an aerodynamicist, it might be a masterpiece or a legal loophole stretched to its limit. After the Miami Grand Prix, the FIA launched a full investigation into McLaren's cars. Their findings? Officially, the design complies. In the FIA's words, it's simply a clever interpretation of the rules. But let's dissect what that really means in F1 speak. The FIA doesn't operate in absolutes when it comes to design legality. There's a vast ocean of interpretation, and McLaren seems to have navigated that ocean with unprecedented precision. Cleverness in F1 is celebrated, until it becomes a political liability. Just ask Braun GP about the double diffuser in 2009 or Mercedes with DAS in 2020. Teams innovate, other teams protest, the FIA interprets. It's a cycle as old as the sport itself. And yet, there's a lingering unease. Red Bull hasn't just alleged issues with brakes. They've hinted at flexible wings, a persistent point of controversy in F1 history. The FIA responded by announcing more stringent load and deflection tests starting at the Spanish Grand Prix, the 9th round of the season. But that raises the question Jos Verstappen couldn't ignore. If something is dubious now, why wait until Spain? Why not act immediately? Jos, speaking with unfiltered frustration, accused the FIA of dragging its feet, essentially giving McLaren a free pass to exploit a flexible wing advantage through the early part of the season. Why after so many races and then it's no longer allowed? Then they have benefited from it until then, he said. I think that's so stupid. Harsh words, but not without precedent. And it's not just wings and brakes. In what can only be described as a bizarre subplot, rumors emerged late last year, largely pushed by German sources and echoed by Red Bull sympathizers, that McLaren may have been injecting water into their tires to assist with thermal management. The theory was as strange as it was unsubstantiated. Still, it gained enough traction that McLaren CEO Zak Brown felt compelled to publicly mock it. He famously brought a water bottle labeled tire water to the Miami GP and took a theatrical sip on camera. The message was clear. McLaren isn't just defending their car, they're ridiculing the accusations. But satire aside, Brown's rebuttal was rooted in genuine frustration. In a later interview, he criticized the culture of baseless allegations in the paddock, particularly pointing fingers, without naming names, at Red Bull for leveraging media narratives instead of official protest channels. This led to one of the more fascinating developments of the controversy, a proposed overhaul in how F1 handles technical accusations. Brown called for any allegation, even informal ones, to be formalized through a written submission and a financial bond. In his words, if someone does believe there's a technical issue, by all means you're entitled to it. Put it on paper, put your money down. It should come against your cost cap if it turns out you're wrong. His idea: discourage weaponized accusations by adding cost and accountability. Surprisingly, FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem agreed. He publicly supported the concept and suggested setting the financial threshold as high as $50,000 for future protests. You cannot just accuse someone without a written complaint, he stated. You have to pay money. This could signal a seismic shift in how F1 governs technical politics, essentially moving from paddock gossip to courtroom procedure. But while the sport debates process, fans and analysts are still left with one burning question: has McLaren built a truly legal supercar? Or have they simply found a way to stay one step ahead of enforcement? Here's where things get even murkier. One anonymous engineer from a rival team reportedly told Automotor Unsport that McLaren's brake design could not have been conceived without months of borderline testing. That implies not just clever engineering, but a willingness to walk the edge of legality. And that's not a crime in F1. In fact, it's often the hallmark of champions. But the bigger issue lies in timing. If McLaren has been allowed to benefit from innovations that will later be restricted, like flexible wings or potentially questionable aerodynamic brake assemblies, then isn't the championship already tainted? Shouldn't early gains be scrutinized retroactively? This isn't just a hypothetical. In 2021, Red Bull's own rear wing design was eventually banned mid-season. Mercedes cried foul, saying it had cost them points. Now, the shoe is on the other foot, and Red Bull is echoing the same arguments they once fought against. It's also worth noting that McLaren's resurgence comes at a time when Red Bull is under internal pressure. Max Verstappen may still be the sport's brightest star, but their dominance isn't what it was in 2023. Technical staff departures, Adrian Newey's looming exit, and the growing tension inside Red Bull's management have all contributed to their vulnerability. In that context, accusing McLaren could be as much a strategic smokescreen as a genuine concern. Still, there's no denying McLaren's pace is real. The telemetry shows it. The lap times prove it. And unless a future FIA report says otherwise, their car remains compliant. Is this a case of innovation outpacing regulation, or just another chapter in F1's eternal war of politics and paranoia? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And as we approach the Emilia-Romagna GP, one thing is certain: the fight for truth off track is just as fierce as the one on it.